Sitting in the combat. Drinking gin and tonic. Heavy on the line. Yeah, baby.
It's time!
Good morning. Welcome to Thursday, people.
For the Jeff Sargent Show.
With Janky, the Man Wonder.
With Janky, the Man of Wonder.
And now in color.
And now in color. Roy and Jimmy, where are you?
I'm right here.
We need your help.
Here at the Kaotic Hall of Justice.
Roy and Jimmy, we need your help to find help us find our show from the 24th. We can't find it.
Yeah, Jimmy, if you're listening, we're trying to find our Robert Zapata episode. The great dude from Cannibal the Headhunters.
Jimmy's the best engineer we got here at Chaotic Radio.
Living or dead.
Living or dead. He is the best.
No offense to former engineers, but it's true.
Yeah. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, people. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. And all the ships at sea. Kill that song. Thank you.
Yes.
Enough with that caterwaul.
How you doing? Did you get some sleep yesterday?
I did.
How do you do these all-nighters? Get up, do a radio show, and you must like crash like as soon as you step out of my car. Bro.
I've been asking myself that since you invited me to do mornings with you. I'm an all-night guy. And so I'll work on articles. I went to the gym. I went to the gym till 2 a.m. yesterday, and then I came back and crashed. And you'll catch your second wave. I mean, I'll do, for me, I'll do like, I'll write a couple articles. I'm working on other stuff I can't mention yet. And it just, then suddenly it's like, oh my God, I got to get to bed. He'll be here in 10 minutes kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when you hit your second wind, and thank God for that carrot maker you brought in, and just when your second wind kicks in, with all your sculpting work, I'm amazed you're not punchy.
Well, I did yesterday. I mean, the work's exhausting because I'm working, getting ready for the E3 gaming convention, which is coming the weekend of the 12th through the 16th, I believe it is.
Wow.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and everybody's got deadlines, and I have no time to rest, man. Yesterday, after I dropped you off, I had to pull over in Fullerton on my way to Huntington Beach by the Brea Mall, and I had to take a short nap before I only got 5 hours in yesterday, but I wasn't going to fall asleep in that traffic.
No. If you fall, I mean, nothing is worth your life.
No.
You know what I mean? And if you have to grab some shut-eye, do it. You know. Hey, the Brea, when's the last time you went by Brea? The Brea Mall used to have a really great $2 house.
Oh, you know what? They had a great collectible toy shop in there.
Really?
I remember back in the 80s. This is back in the 80s. They had this one. I almost bought this like a 2-foot Gigantor.
Wow, Gigantor.
Oh, this guy was badass. I think he was
bigger than big.
I think it was like over $100 back then.
Was he bigger than big?
Bigger than big, stronger than strong, quicker than quick, ready to fight for a right
against wrong. Oh my God, I love the.
But
Dickies.
you open the leg, all the attachments, and you could see all the robot stuff inside his body and stuff, and have the rocket pack. I mean. It was called Tetsujin 28.
Yeah, that's his original Japanese name. They mentioned him.
It wasn't the fat pot-bellied Gigantor. It was
with
like
the beaky mosquito nose.
Yeah. It was a more buffed version.
Bigger than big.
Yeah. It wasn't the original, because I think the original started 1959.
I don't know. I never saw it until there was a comic. There was a
late 60s. Yeah, late 60s, early 70s. That's when they made them blue.
In the 90s. In the 90s, remember when we were at Comic-Con, they would have a Comic-Con channel, which would do nothing but garbage. And I remember that was the hotel room where we almost got thrown out when Deli was, doing that thing off the balcony.
Yes.
And I remember you screamed like you'd been stabbed and everyone woke up. And it was because at 4:30 in the morning, they started running Gigantor reruns.
Yeah. That's right.
And I'd never seen Gigantic before that. I'd heard about it. In Michigan, as kids, we had Astro Boy and stuff.
We had Astro Boy too.
But we didn't have Gigantor.
I had, in fact, I had on the 45 with the big hole in the middle of the 40. You had to put the little record player
Dickies,
thing.
yeah.
I had that. I had these are the original records. I had the soundtrack. I had Astro Boy record with the cartoon on the sleeve. And then I had a Gigantor one because they were both playing at the same time.
Same producers, which I think is the Speed Racer guys.
Yeah.
And I was just watching, they do a little bit on Gigantor on The Toys That Made Us, a pretty great show on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I love that show.
And I remember the original title of Transformers was Super God Robot Force.
Super God Robot Force.
And one Marvel writer just made it in the Jim Shooter, believe it or not, who was head of Marvel.
Oh, wow.
He made it in the Transformers. Denny O'Neil, the hippie who created Crime Alley and Ra's al Ghul on Batman.
Oh, yeah.
He got fired off of Transformers, but before he did, he came up with the great name Optimus Prime.
Wow. And it also worked during the Beast Wars because Optimus Primal. It was
really?
Optimus Primal.
That's
when
cool.
they did the Beast Wars. But what happened? What were they saying about the one toy? They had to kill it because of the there was a female Transformer bought high beams.
Oh yeah,
and her car she wore a bra like the Porsches had, a bra. And like, wait a second, she's got her high beams on.
Yeah, they made them when they were going to call her high. They were going to call this one Transformer High Beam. And they're like, no. That's a woman with hard nipples.
With her hard nipples,
and
poking through her auto bra.
The nerd writer on the Nerd Marvel Comics writer naming everyone had no idea. So.
It's so obvious, man. They're like, hi, babe. I just start laughing, just like, what?
And this poor writer, Bob Budiansky, he wound up naming most of the Transformers. I mean, he didn't name Optimus Prime, and I think Jim Shooter came up with Decepticons and Autobots.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this poor guy, Denny O'Neil, man, he created Crime Alley, he created Ra's al Ghul and Talia, and he created Optimus Prime's name,
Wow.
And they said the company had to kill all the original run of Transformers when they did the Transformers movie. Remember, Optimus Prime, even though he's a robot, dies. And because the toy company said, we got the new line of toys ready, kill all the early ones,
Yes. So that would be quite a collector item if we had High Beam.
Yeah, I don't think High Beam's name had got out of the drawing room.
Yeah. We could still build one. I could build one from scratch and call it High Beam. I don't know. How would you put the bra? How would we build the chest on that?
I wouldn't even want to speculate.
And what kind of car would it be?
I wouldn't even want to speculate.
A Porsche 911?
In the age of Me Too, nobody wants to speculate. We all just hope for the best. I like that picture of us on your Facebook page.
I think we'll use that for our T-shirts. What do you think?
I think it's a good one.
Our business cards.
Yeah, that works for me.
Well, okay, let's have our business cards like that, and then we'll have the Chaotic Radio on the flip side. We could do double-sided cards.
And you were talking about what Roy and Jimmy do, where they.
Oh yeah, I like the way when you're watching their program, they have their sponsor. They have their logo. It says Roy and Jimmy Show, and then they got their sponsor logo stamped right on it. So it's playing the whole time you're watching it. You see that your sponsor. That's what we got to do.
Wow.
And that's the way to do it, I think. And then we got to make our T-shirts. What do you think about the Photoshop for the twins?
Yeah,
I think that would make a fun T-shirt.
What the hell? Amusing.
Yeah. This is entertainment. We got to keep our audience entertained, right?
Yeah, that's what we're here for, people. It's Thursday, ladies and gentlemen.
And our guest today, I think the phone was ringing right too early. It might have been our guest,
David H. Horn.
David H. Horn. Call us again, Dave. We're ready. We usually don't take till 10 after to 15 after because it takes that much time to get.
You are now in the window.
To get started. You're now in the window.
And then our second guest is Glamorous Glynnes Pruett coming in person.
All right.
owner of the great comic book hideout in Fullerton, and she's coming to promote a really cool event.
It's a great store. Fullerton, downtown Fullerton's a real cool. They got a colony.
Well, she's one of the reasons downtown Fullerton is so cool. You know what I mean? I mean, they do this great drinking and drawing event. I did the last one, and there's one tonight.
That'd be great if we do that. I've never seen you draw. This will be exciting.
Well, we're watching. They'll have like Marvel and DC artists drinking and drawing.
So are we going to draw? Are they going to do like the people do with the drawing painting, where everybody draws the same thing?
Usually that's what. Well,
so will we have a comic character?
We'll let Glynnes tell. You know, Glynnes. I don't want to jump her train, so we'll let her tell the story.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah. So this would be exciting. I like doing events like this.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
And it's safer than shotguns and wine. You know, a bunch of drunks going out there and then shooting and
find the aliens.
Oops, shooting your foot off.
Yeah, just tell a bunch of drunk guys. One of you is an alien from space.
So David, call us back. We're ready for you. You're calling from Florida. Steve, are you out there? Are you up? Steve Joyner, are you awake? Give us a call.
What is this, like a half-assed seance?
Give us a call at 909-360-8330. That's 909 360
8330. You dropped one of the threes, Moran.
Yeah. Call up our show. Yeah.
But yeah, so cool thing is, let's see, this is the last days of May, and we've been having this great May gloom out here. I mean, I love the getting up in the morning to the drizzle, you know?
Yes, it's a good drizzle because, remember, this is going to be a long, hot summer.
Yeah.
We're going to be sweating. It's going to be hot, even at nighttime.
Exactly.
You might be able to want to go barefoot and toughen your feet up, and we're going to find you some flip-flops, man.
There ain't no flip-flops for me out there.
We're going to get Patrick if it's the last thing I do before the summer ends.
I will be truly amazed if you find Jesus boots in my size.
We're going to get you some flip-flop sandals for the summer. And they have to be, I'll have to measure your shoe. From here to here. I can't go by size. I'll get the tape measure out. And what is it compared to this? Let's see. Okay, we need about 4 more inches than what I've got here.
Hey, quick question. What are you doing this weekend?
I really haven't decided. I know that we have we've been invited. Remember, we had Denny Burns on?
Oh, yeah.
And she said we're invited to go up in a hot air balloon.
That might be fun. There's a lot of 80s bands, too.
The Temecula Wine and Balloon Festival.
Holy smokes.
Yeah. I hope she hasn't forgot. She invited us off to call her. I've never been in a hot air balloon. Neither of you.
No, never, you know. Interesting.
We could bungee jump off the balloon.
Wow.
The 10,000 feet. I have no idea how high those things go. What's the average? Because it seems pretty low to the ground. Remember, we'd be driving down to San Diego?
And when you look over and you'd see all these high up in the air balloons, yeah.
Yeah, I think they're up for what, 1,000 feet maybe?
They have a bunch of 80s bands, too. I'd be curious about that.
Oh, yeah. The real bands or the tribute bands?
No, real bands.
Oh, the real bands.
They've been running the ads on 99.9 Cola.
Oh. Well, if they paid us, we could have been advertising them, too. Hey, here we go. We got a phone call.
Okay, yeah. Steve says he's been trying to call in. All right, take it.
Hello, Dave. Is that you?
It is. I was having a little trouble getting through. It just kept ringing.
It was a little too soon because that's the second we start the show. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got to run through our theme song. It takes 5 to 10. It takes about 10 minutes to get us going before we. Yeah, but it's good. You're up bright and early. What time is it over there in Florida?
It is 10:15.
Oh, 10:15. It's late.
Yeah.
It's so late.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Gosh, I guess it's the crack of dawn for you guys.
It is actually, you know.
So we're just talking about the weather here. We haven't really experienced summer yet here. We got the June gloom at the middle of May, and going into tomorrow, June 1st.
Yes,
last
sir.
day of the month, man.
Wow.
So how's the weather? Is it bright and sunny out there?
Yeah, it is, and it's hot. We only have 2 seasons. You have 4 out there. We only have 2 here. We have summer and we have February. So, yeah.
What part of Florida are you out of, Dave?
I'm in northeast Florida, Jacksonville, which is Florida's most populous city. Not too many people know that, but
that's further up.
Yeah.
That's further up toward Orlando and whatnot, right?
It's up from Orlando. In fact, they used to say that Jacksonville was the gateway to Florida, because if you were coming down 95, which most people would be from the north, it would be the first sizable city that you would run into once you got into Florida. So it's a nice place to live. It doesn't have all of the wonderful things that places like Los Angeles and Chicago and Boston and those might have, but we like it.
So were you born and raised in Florida?
I was born and raised right here in Jacksonville, Florida. I think I'm one of 5 people that can actually claim that. Yeah, almost 68 years ago now.
Wow.
I've been my grandparents, they lived on the Gulf side. They had a house with their whole neighborhood had canals in their backyard, and you could have a boat and docked. It was in Cape Coral. It was near Sanibel Island. Cape Coral.
Yes, I know, and that's beautiful area. Really beautiful. White sand. Yeah, white sands and everything on the strangely, and I don't know why it is that way, but on the east side of Florida, the sand is kind of a tan color, and if you move to the west side of Florida, the beaches all have snow white sand, and it's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, I was, and then I've been to Orlando because I had to work there over at the theme parks. I had some. I had some work to do there, but I really didn't enjoy it. I don't like Orlando. Outside of there, it just seemed like just a dump, a swampy dump. But I loved where my grandparents lived. I loved it down there, and I loved the water. You could go way out. You could be a half a mile out and be up to your knees.
Jeff's grandparents were practicing nudists, Dave.
Oh, were they? Oh,
just kidding.
That's
Grandma Sargent was. Grandpa, I think, kept his shorts on.
I remember a song. I don't remember what group it was, but there was a song called Tallahassee Lassie. Do you remember that?
No.
Oh, yeah,
She's my Tallahassee Lassie.
Yeah.
I can't remember what group that was. Do you know?
Me either.
So tell us more about your history here.
Yeah, how'd you get your SAG card?
I do not have one. It's one of those catch-22s, and I've kind of been talking to Steve Joyner about that. I think you guys know him, and
he's a reputable character.
He is.
We will vouch for Steve Joyner.
Yeah.
We really wouldn't have much of a show without the guy.
Yeah, this is true.
Yeah. Well, he's very generous and informative, and so he's been telling me. When I inquired about getting a SAG card, they said, well, you have to be in a SAG production. And I said, well, how do I get in a SAG production? He said, well, you got to have a SAG card. And I went, okay.
Catch-22, baby.
Yeah.
So what kind of film do you do? What brought you? Is that all you do? Is that what you're an actor? What else do you do?
Right. Well, excuse me. I'm mainly a stage actor. I've done 48 plays. I've only done the one movie, but
what's the one movie?
The one movie was a short film called New Wings. It was the story of the rise of Batgirl. Barbara Gordon.
Oh, you were the Commissioner Gordon in that.
I was Commissioner Gordon. It sure was. Yeah.
We had Batgirl on the show.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we had your
great.
Batgirl in the show. Remember who played your Batgirl?
Her name is Emma Catherine. She had to do a lot of kickboxing, taekwondo stuff, and she's actually, in addition to being a very good actress, a taekwondo champion. She can actually jump up and kick somebody in the forehead if they're 7 feet tall. So
did you find that out the hard way?
No, I didn't. I told her, I was, I would take her word for it because I'm much too old to have somebody kick me in the forehead. So,
that's your daughter, Commissioner Gordon's daughter, Barbara Gordon.
Absolutely, yeah. You'd think he doesn't know who that Bruce Wayne is Batman. He doesn't know his daughter is Batgirl. How good a police commissioner could he be?
Yeah, he's quite the detective, that Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, right.
It was always so funny how Commissioner Gordon from the TV show, it was just so like, so naive about that. I wonder who she is. Let's see. Usually, my mom would recognize me if I'm wearing a scarecrow. No matter what, she knows who's under the costume.
Yeah.
In reality. But, so where was this? Was this whole thing shot in Florida?
It was. It was shot in Jacksonville, and actually shot in one location's house that was leased or donated or something. It was done all in comic book colors. The entire house was, kind
of like the way they did. Kind of like the way they did the Dick Tracy colors.
Dick Tracy, exactly. That's what it was, and that's what he went to achieve. And so I had to dye my hair red, and then when he saw it red, he said, "I don't like that," and so we're gonna have to dye it back black. And so I'm still suffering the fallout from that, but. Yeah, it was great, and the whole cast was just wonderful. Guy who played Bruce Wayne, his name's Anthony Paderewski, and he's done a lot of television and commercials and a couple of films, and he was just as funny as he could be. We'd be standing there. Of course, it was the first movie I'd ever done. I didn't know how to had to sit and, on a position or a place and that sort of thing, and he would try to loosen me up before the thing, and of course my name was Jim Gordon in the thing, and before every scene he would say something funny, and one of the funniest, and I couldn't stop laughing. We had to wait. It was he reached out and said, "Damn it, Jim, I'm a doctor and not a crime fighter."
How was his costume in comparison to all the other Batmans?
Well, the costume, you don't actually see Batman in a costume. He comes to the place after he's changed back to Bruce Wayne. And Batgirl does her own costume, and it looks like one that a 16-year-old girl would probably create. And or Bruce Wayne tells her in the end, this symbol means a lot more. It's got to be treated with reverence, and so I guess he tells her to meet him on top of the Ace Chemical building the following night when the thing ends, and that he'll fix her up. He's been against it all the way while saying Batman doesn't need any sidekicks. So
she
wants to.
She's dressed like a cosplay girl, kind of. Have you seen the pictures, Pat?
I have not.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah. Can you still hear me? I hit hit my. Okay. All right. I hit my button on my headset. Yes. Cosplay. Yes. It's sort of like that, and there are special effects where Clayface is the main.
Oh, Clayface!
Villain.
I love Clayface.
Yeah,
I've never seen that in a live, only animated.
Right. So they chop his hand off, and it wanders around the house.
Oh, how cool!
Which gives it a level of humor and comedy because they keep turning. Commissioner Gordon, one of them will be talking to him, they'll see the hand come walking across the floor, and they'll grab him and turn him, and and he doesn't know what the heck's going on, but it was good. I really enjoyed it, and really loved the two main characters.
Who played Clayface? Was he a big guy or?
You don't see him. All you see is the hand after it's been chopped off. He's in a.
I mean, was this a live action, like a real costume or CG or?
What? I'm sorry. The costume you say?
Yeah. Is it CG? Was it computer generated or was it?
No. It's the costume.
Latex costume.
Yes, right. You only see it at the beginning when she crawls in the window of her residence, and then takes it off, crawls into bed just as her father comes to the door and says, "Come on down a moment. I want to introduce you to Bruce Wayne." And he's come checking to find out who the mysterious person was that stopped the arms sale in the parking garage, and so that's the premise for the thing. Jim Gordon has just gotten home from work, and it's just he and his daughter because the wife has been killed, and that's what she uses to finally talk Bruce Wayne into letting her be a crime fighter. She says, my mother's dead. This will kill my father. He's didn't say too old. I forget what the thing was. He's getting up there in age, and I don't want to lose my father, and so I'm willing to fight. And of course, Bruce Wayne lost his mother and father at an early age, and so suddenly he becomes much more sympathetic, and he understands where her motivation is coming from. And so that's basically the story, and the rest of it is cartoonish comedy, and
I want you to tell us more about, like I said, the costumes. Like, okay, the Clayface. As we all know, we've only, as Patrick and I know, it's just from the drawings, from the comics, the cartoon, action figures. So how big, how tall is he? How tall was he?
Yeah, he kind of looks like the what is that thing in the Fabulous Four? Gosh, I've drawn a blank. It's not the Thing, is it? What? Okay, there's Johnny.
So what I'm trying to ask is what how's the costume made? I mean, how's the guy get into the costume?
You don't see that. It's in the dark garage, and it's not until there's a tussle, and it's from all angles because there are other gangs there. There's Victor Freeze and Two-Face.
So it's all shadowy.
Yes, right. That's it. It's in shadow because it's quick and boom, boom, boom. And you've got all these crime gangs that are associated with these other villains going down, and she gets there first and uses Victor Freeze's ice beam or something to knock out half of them, and then about that time, Clayface is about to grab her, and Batman shows up and chops his arm off or hand off, and it's already grabbed hold of Barbara's shoulder, and so she ends up wearing it home. And then when she realizes it, she takes it off, and because it was frozen by the beam, it's inert. But as soon as it warms up, all of a sudden it's in the bag, and all of a sudden it breaks through the bag, and they did it with a green screen, and because it had somebody's arm attached to it, really, and so. Oh yeah. But it's crawling around. It's not running up on all fingers like in the Addams Family. But, it looks real, crawling across the thing.
So there is a lot. It's mostly live action, practical effects, right?
Yes.
Besides green screen, which of course.
Mm-hmm. Right. Mm-hmm. So I learned a lot. So the biggest thing is, biggest advantage I guess that film has is if you make a mistake, they can correct it right there. You just go back, and but with theater, you get that momentum going, and so you feel a little bit better. But I had one passage of lines that was rather lengthy and technological at the same time, and we talked about what was it? Thermoscopic goggles and all this kind of thing, and I had to pop it all out, and then I'd say, because Bruce Wayne has brought it over to give to the Gotham City Police, and he's thanking him for it, and so I had to go through this thing, and I would get caught up on one word or another, and we have to start all over again. And I finally got through it, and I could tell that I had gotten it, and I was getting right toward the end. And the last thing that happens in that scene is Gordon gets a phone call on his cell phone to tell him what's gone down at that parking garage. And I'm supposed to say, Commissioner Gordon here. Okay, catch me up. And so I got through the whole thing, and I'm thinking, oh, wow, finally, after about 22 takes. And I grabbed the phone, rang, and I said, Commissioner Horn here. And I went, oh, gosh, I've got to start all over again. But
how many days were you there on the set every day they were filming, or just? No,
I was just there for 3.5 days, and then two extra days for voiceover. Because sometimes when you're moving, you move out of the ideal range of the boom mics, and so that's
it's never a good time to stand to keep the boom mics on camera, I think.
Oh yeah, gosh, and the poor guy, he was great, the guy that handled the sound, and because I'm a stage actor, I tend to project much more than film actors do, and so he had the thing set, the sound levels for movie actors, and so I would deliver my line and I would punch it like you do on stage, so it would get to the back of the theater. And I heard him talking directly. He said, he's blowing my eardrums out. So that's
what did Tim Burton do when he heard this?
I'll have to learn. Yeah.
So were there live? So were there gunfire on this too as well?
No. That's funny. It's actually there isn't. In fact, I think I'm the only one wearing a pistol on his hip, because I don't remember. It's mostly sock'em rock'em, like the
Batman. Yeah, without the flashing pow and zap and junk.
Right, pow, boom, right.
So is it mainly focused on Batgirl, or?
Yeah, Batgirl's the main story. It's her coming.
It's her. This is like her deal, her adventure here.
Right. Yeah, there is some explanation of how she got so good. As the thing was, Commissioner Gordon went from being a Marine to a Marine Recon Special Forces and fought all over the world, and learned all this stuff, and that he taught his daughter after his wife died. She was his only companion, and I guess didn't know anything about teas and dance recitals and whatnot. So he taught her hand-to-hand combat, and now, of course, he is in his 60s, and that's why they I guess cast me in that role. Well,
it's great that they got a martial artist though for this. When you put
I know.
When you put a kung fu girl in a superhero costume, that's where the excitement happens. Right, Pat?
Yeah,
that's exactly right.
I'm hoping that they will turn it into a series, or at least feature length.
So Steve,
movie, because it has. I'm sorry.
So Steve said you did a bunch of plays, Dave. What other plays did you do?
Oh gosh, 48 in all, and I took a 22-year hiatus from that. I started. I guess it was 1975. I was 25 years old. We were going through a kind of a recession at that point. Been working for Amtrak, and got laid off with a friend of mine, and we were perusing the want ads and trying to find things. Saw one ad that said actors wanted, will be paid, no experience necessary, and I said, yeah, I'll patch. And I auditioned, got a small role as the bartender in there, and the director liked what I was doing. He said, I'd like to move you up to one of the featured roles as the violinist, the world-renowned violinist that gets beat up and things like that. That's fine. I'll take a whipping for the team. So
do they bring
that?
Interesting.
I'm sorry?
Interesting.
How many musicals have you done?
I can't sing, but I act in them and I support them. So usually I will take a small non-singing role that they need to cast. Usually, musicals will have anywhere from 25 to 35 or more people, so they need to fill out those things with bodies. So I never had an ego to bruise, so I would go from being the lead in one play to being the janitor in the next one. So,
well, thank you so much, Dave. This was a blast,
Absolutely. I loved it.
What's your, are you going to go do any plays coming up?
I'm hoping to do as many films as I can. Had a chance of doing one, and I think they've lost their financing for it, and it was under a strange working title, so it sounded like something from Africa, but it was basically a story. I won't get all into that, but my part was just a small thing of a no nonsense, kind of a irascible sheriff of a small town, and these millennials come racing through the town, hell bent for leather, and they're kind of smarty pants, and he comes to where his deputies have pulled him over, and he's got only a few lines, but they're just killer lines. It's and the best one is when the pretty little girl comes up to him trying to sashay and everything. She says, "Well, I heard you guys didn't give tickets to pretty girls." And I said, "Well, you heard right. Sign here."
Oh, wow.
The stage is such a different thing than doing film. I mean, you've got to memorize your lines, and you can't say cut. You've got to, if you screw up, you got to keep going, man. Has that ever happened to you where you've forgot a line, or just what do you do?
You just try to remember where you are, what the story is, and so unless you jump from the first act to the second act, and there's no way to go back, then you're in trouble. But usually you just kind of use a workaround and that sort of thing. I was on stage one time where it's just two of us in an intimate scene, and the girl was in her first or second play, and suddenly she went south on her lines and just stood there looking at me, and I kept filling in her lines and my lines, and then all of a sudden it became a strain, and it seemed like I was out there for about 30 minutes. I'm sure it was no more than about 4 or 5, and one of the experienced actors from backstage came on, and he was supposed to be the deli owner. He comes and says, "I came up to, I'm delivering, food, whatever, can I do this?" And got us out of the scene. But your heart will beat like a trip hammer when that happens.
Wow. Well, geez, Dave, this was great. Thank you so much. Where can people follow your adventures on Facebook?
Yeah, how do we follow you and catch your future plays? Is there a playhouse in your town that's popular?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. There's several. I'll mention Theater Jacksonville first because it's the oldest continuously running community theater in the United States.
Wow.
Now, there's some that are older by virtue of the fact that they were established first, but they stopped or discontinued their plays during World War II and whatnot. Theater Jacksonville kept doing that as a necessary diversion, I guess. So they do about 5 or 6 a year, and they're excellent. Players by the Sea is probably the most prolific. They do about 12 plays a year, including children's plays, and they've got their theater sectioned off into different venues so that you can do. There's Orange Park Players, which is first place I did. It's just a little outside of Jacksonville. And there are other ones that have sprung up. I could be here all day listening.
I demand you be here all day listening. No, David, this was great. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your Commissioner Gordon gig.
And when is that going to come out? Is it going to be released on DVD or distributed, or how can we view this?
I think it's on YouTube, I believe.
On YouTube?
That we had a screening for it in the theaters, and had a premiere, like red carpet and that sort of thing. I don't know if you could do that for just one theater, but we saw it on the big screen, and I saw things about myself in high definition. I didn't want to see anymore, but it's good. Yeah, I believe it should be out there. You can, if you can't find it under that title, you can probably find it under its director's name, which is Franklin Rich, Ritch. He's produced, I don't know, 20-something maybe short films, and somewhere it's listed under his name if it's not under New Wings.
Okay, under New Wings?
New Wings, yeah.
All right. Well, so thank you for calling in, and it was a pleasure. Good luck with all your plays and future films.
Best of luck with all future endeavors, David.
And if you come out to California, let us know, and we'll do breakfast.
Okay, all right, that's great.
Or lunch, or whatever whatever the time difference is.
Yeah. Well, it would probably take me 3 hours to get there, so I'd be back on that time. So that would be fine. Let's see, what was I going to say there? Where is Rancho Cucamonga? That's the way you pronounce it. I've always loved the name.
Well, if you like J.R.R. Tolkien, this is where the Battle of the Four Armies takes place in Return of the King.
Oh, okay.
and it's by the famous Ontario International Airport and the Fontana Raceway, where the NASCAR track is out here.
Oh, okay. And what is the closest big city?
Let's see. We're about an hour from Hollywood.
Okay.
East of Hollywood. And we have a Quake Stadium, which has got a statue of Jack Benny and his violin. And it's off of a street called Rochester.
Oh, my gosh.
And so he would... Jack Benny was always famous for saying all the way out to Rancho Cucamonga.
No, it wasn't Jack Benny. It was Mel Blanc. But instead of on the show, of giving a statue to Mel Blanc,
And so it was. That's what made this town famous. I mean, it was nothing but grape vineyards, And now it's a thriving town.
Right. Gosh. Well, half your listeners probably are scratching their heads, going, "What? Rochester? Really?" Right. I don't know if you have to be my age and your age
to know that Rochester is a real person that works for Mr. Benny.
Benny, right? Yeah.
Well, remember, everyone still knows Mel Blanc as the voice of Bugs Bunny and not much else.
Yes. Right. Oh, absolutely. I don't know how he came up with so many voices for so many characters and made them flawless.
He lives up in the our local mountains before he passed away. His last years were lived up in Big Bear.
Really?
Yeah, right off of Big Bear Lake. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Well, I was going to tell him I said hello, but I guess it's too late. Yeah.
Hopefully not we won't tell him that for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, Robert, take care on that Florida Panhandle. A pleasure, sir.
Yes, same here. Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
All right.
Thank you. Here we go.
Good luck in all your endeavors.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
All right, cool. That was David H. Horn, ladies and gentlemen, of Florida. Woo! That's our second Florida guest in 2 days, by the way. The enchanting Erica Woolley was also from Florida.
Yes, and you mentioned Clearwater, Florida. You know what they make in Clearwater, Florida?
Scientologists.
No, they make the Evertone sound sheets. Remember the little floppy disk you'd get in magazines? And on the back of Honeycomb cereal boxes back in the 70s. Remember you used to get records on the back of a Honeycomb? You had Archie's and Bobby Sherman records. Did you get that in Detroit at all?
Apparently not.
Was it
Question for you, though. Hold on. Archie's. Wow, the Archie's.
Yeah.
We had the guy from the Archie's in there.
Evertone sound sheets where they would laminate them. They'd be on the...
Clearwater is also, I believe, the home of the National Enquirer, right?
Yes, I believe so, too. A lot of things come out of Clearwater, Florida. They have a little industry there.
I like Florida. You know what I mean? The last time I was there, my family was going to we were going to the Bahamas, so we had to fly out there to take the we had to fly out or take a boat out to Florida to hitch another boat to the Bahamas, and we had a very good time.
I've never been to Florida in the summertime. Now, is it that when mosquitoes and lightning bugs come out? I don't know.
While we were on the phone with Mr. Horn, I looked up where we stayed as kids. The Jellystone Park campground is still there.
What, in Florida?
Yeah, you can't find Yogi Bear anywhere on TV, but the Jellystone campground is still there. They said apparently to keep the wrecking ball away, they added the Flintstones as well.
Oh my God! Now, was this like a low budget amusement park with roller coasters, or what is it?
It was
a
campground.
Oh, it's like a KOA campground.
Yeah, it's like a KOA.
Me. Oh wow! And it's got theme to it. I can't believe it's a campground with theme.
I remember Mom handing out peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and a pickup truck would come rattling around the campsites, spraying off or some sort of mosquito repellent and blowing in the wind all over your sandwiches.
Wow. That was what it was the same function as a KOA camp. You go and pay in.
Yeah. Did
they have characters in costume?
Yeah. Remember I told the story about my brother Steven and a bunch of little kids were kicking Boo Boo. No, they were kicking Yogi in the ass.
Oh my God! That's horrible. That's why today at theme parks you have escorts, so those little brats don't mess with you.
And I remember Yogi Bear. He looked pretty good. The nose, the eyes, the pork pie hat, but his mouth was all chicken wire, where you could see the face of the human in the mask. And I remember Steven, these kids were beating on Yogi, and Boo Boo started kicking them in the ass.
Hey, look, a caller. Look at this.
Mysterious voice from the East.
Mysterious caller. Who are you? Welcome to the Jeff Sargent Show. Is this Jabron?
Hey, good morning. It's Steve. Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good morning. I hope you have our 35 minutes back.
That was great. I got a great announcement for you, too. David Horn and Steve Rubin are going to be giving lectures this evening. So,
yay!
Come grab dinner over at Betty's at 3 p.m.
Hey,
the early bird.
We're getting a new sponsor. The Jeff Sargent Show is now sponsored by Geritol for all your geriatric needs.
It is.
It is what it is, brother. It is what it freaking
God,
is.
it's almost Friday, Steve.
I know it is almost Friday, and the month's almost over, and we're still here. I don't know how.
Damn.
Anyway, but yeah, you know what I was thinking about though. On a brighter note, I don't want to rewind the clock 70 years. Let's go 40 years.
Sure.
But you know what? There's a lot of great movies. I was looking at, like the summer of '78. Was that like? I'm looking at Halloween, Jaws 2.
Well, no, Halloween was
78 had a lot of good movies.
Halloween
released.
was, I think Halloween was the fall. And I know June 16th is Jaws 2, and I believe Grease came out in the same day. And they're
yeah. I mean, we're hitting like, and then I'm thinking Animal House. I mean, there was a lot of good movies that came out in '78. And I remember, Patrick, you were talking about '81, the year I did a film. That was like the shittiest year.
But you will remember the year you did what was interesting about the year you did The Devil and Max Devlin, which was Disney trying to branch out. I mean, Disney had been repeatedly trying to be a little more edgy, with Black Hole being the first PG movie in Disney history.
Yeah.
And then remember, Walt Disney's nephew resigned off the board in like the 80s because he didn't want to be a part of any company that would make a movie like Splash.
Yeah. Smut for kids, they called it in England.
It didn't get any more lower than The Devil, though, I'll tell you that, because, you know, whenever I mention that, which I hardly as ever, you know, and especially now with, you know, certain revelations that happened with Mr. Cosby.
Yeah,
the thing is, people are like, did you meet him? I'm like, no, I just briefly. I talked to him for like 2 seconds. But the thing is that when I explain the what the movie's about, they're like, "That's a Disney movie."
Yeah.
It's like, Trump the souls of children. I mean,
Elliot Gould, of all people, and the fact that it's Angus Scrimm from Phantasm is kind of.
Oh yeah, I mean that was a cool part. I admit that was a cool part. But the funny thing is, I don't know if I shared this when I was down there. Is that Elliot? We had a pool scene where we're in a pool with him, and we're in a pool. We're in a pool with him, and you know he's trying to court Adam Rich's mother, and he had to wear a T-shirt. And I could never figure that out. That dude was hairier than hairy. And that's why, no, he was a hairy dude, man. I remember he's wearing, but you know what? One of the nicest guys I ever met. Really nice.
No, it's true. Go on.
I love seeing him in the Ocean 11 films where when he came back and he was the old Jewish guy. Remember that?
Yeah, I've talked to him at like SAG meetings. Incredibly personable. I always ask him about my favorite movie of his, which is The Long Goodbye.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll just tell you stories. Amazing cat, you know?
Yeah, and I remember I always liked Bob Carroll, Ted and Alice. I thought that was a great movie.
Oh, yeah. The interesting. I mean, that guy, his filmography is so huge, Elliot Gould. You know, I mean, not even including MASH or anything else. He just done so many movies and so many good movies.
Do you remember one called Nunzio?
Is that the retarded guy who likes Superman?
Yeah. New York City, yeah.
I think Sherwood Schwartz had a hand in that.
I think that was 77.
Was he in Nunzio?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
That was a depressing movie.
Here's a time killer to the lovely. I can't wait till she comes in the studio, man. I was reading about her. She looks too cool for school.
No, Glynnes Pruett is one of the coolest people I know, and I thought it'd be fun to have her on this week. She has a store event tonight.
I don't know of any other female comic book store
owners. That's one of the reasons.
She has a great knowledge of comics. I mean,
oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's pretty, and that's usually
she's adorable. But here's the weird thing, Steve, is tomorrow is the 80th anniversary of Superman. June 1st.
No kidding.
June 1st is the day the first issue of Action Comics featuring Superman came out. So I was glad she had an in-store tonight. We could bring her on to promote because tomorrow's the birth of the comic book.
Question. I was watching a thing about George Reeves the other day, right?
Right.
Did you know? I didn't know this, and I forgot the guy's name. But did you know he was not the original Superman?
Kirk Allen.
Kirk Allen.
Yeah, from the series.
Yeah, and he didn't want to be typecasted.
But remember, go on.
We saw Kirk Allen when we went to Superman on the big screen in Hollywood.
Yeah, he's on the train with Lois Lane.
And Lois, they have the little girl Lois Lane when Jeff East was running across the train, and Kirk Allen was sitting across with the original Lois Lane.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing is Noel Neal, who was seen on the train with Kirk Allen and Superman. Noel Neal, who was the second Lois Lane on the Adventures of Superman. She was actually the first Lois Lane. She played her in the serials.
That's what Jeff East told me, and I thought that was a cool little homage, that they threw back, and I thought that was great they did that. I wanted to, okay, so here's a question. I think you guys, let's have some fun here, okay? So we're talking about the great movies in 1978. It was a blockbuster year, and, I mean, you had, Grease, Jaws 2.
Cannon Films.
Animal House.
Look at all the film Cannon Films put out.
Okay, how about this? Okay, let's flip the script, as the kids say. Let's think of the worst movie of '78, because '78 had some really crapper ones. Okay,
there was Oliver's Story, which was the sequel to Love Story. John Baum in '78. Capricorn One.
Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Oh my God! I was at the beach and I went and saw that. I'm going like, I was so pissed off. How dare the Bee Gees beat up Aerosmith?
Were you sober when you saw it? It's a valid question. It's a valid question. My brother went and saw it. And he said there were people smoking pot in line.
We went and smoked a few joints and had, we were kids and we had our older brothers to buy us beer and stuff.
You know what that movie's claim to fame is, though, right?
Career killers.
That's a good, strong argument, but it's also, I believe, it's the first feature-length movie with Steve Martin.
Well, hold on. Yeah, because Absent-Minded Professor.
That was a short, Smarty.
That was a short.
You're not going to beat me in this game, Steve.
No. That was Martin's first movie, and I think he doesn't talk about it that much, Right. But that was really like a Saturday Night Live skit he did on that.
But watch it on VH1. It's hypnotically bad. I still think the girl Sandy Farina, who played Strawberry Fields, she's incredibly beautiful, but she looks incredibly stoned throughout the movie. I mean, there's no reason for the robots. There's no reason for the robots. There's no reason for half the crap in that movie. Doing a Beatles song is like an argument between a man and a woman. It's amazing. It's hypnotically bad, and I can't stop watching it.
I own it. I own it on DVD. I'm not going to lie. I will watch it because it's like a time capsule. And I heard stories, and I heard that Frampton was lied to. And they told him, like, oh, yeah, Paul McCartney's going to be the weather vane at the end. And it turns out to be Billy Preston.
Billy Preston.
That was the closest they could get to the Beatles. There they go all the way to Billy Preston to find a fifth Beatle to appear in the movie.
But in all honesty, if you guys are at home and you're just bored and it comes on, will you watch it? I will. I will actually watch it.
I'll watch it for the Aerosmith scene, because when the $ breaks and she dies, that freaked me out, even watching it, you know what I mean? But getting there would be a long, tough
She dies in the film? What? They had a death in this
movie?
Yeah,
she dies.
Jeff, don't you know the movie cures death? Because the weather vane brings her back to life.
The weather vane turns into Billy Shear.
Oh, that's when they said, get back, and then she comes back to life.
Because remember, Billy Preston later got in trouble for either child molestation or child pornography.
Are you sure?
Yeah, hold on. Let me
look that up. You got to back yourself up on that.
Yeah, I'm going to. Hold on.
Because nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
Yeah.
He was accused of it. Not by us, so please don't sue us. But hold on. Billy Preston.
Accused is one thing.
Yeah.
You're okay.
Look how many people have been accused and come out.
I'm on the air.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what my wife told me this morning?
Mrs. Joyner, you're on the air on Chaotic Radio.
Say hi, Mrs. Joyner.
She's not on the air. But you know what? She told me something very interesting. She told me that Michael Jackson's estate is suing Disney.
Really? Why?
I guess they used his likeness in some sort of thing recently, a lot of it.
Well, Captain EO, they did Captain EO at Disneyland.
No, recently they did some kind of documentary film or something, and she said they did a documentary film, and they used a lot of Jackson's likeness. So Disney's got to get their checkbook out on this one. I mean,
who do they pay it for? The Michael Jackson Foundation, his family members, or who's ever?
Yeah, it will go to his family. You know this. This is all they're gonna. I mean, I hate to say it, but Jackson. This is my theory. Elvis Presley is worth more dead than he was alive.
Correct.
You know, because of marketing, and I think they're going to do the same thing with Jackson.
Well,
he was not in financial great shape when he died. People don't realize he lived beyond his means. Same thing with Presley, and people think, oh, he just had mountains of money, but no, Jackson apparently was in debt, and so was Presley. So they're just going to, milk it till, I don't know. That's what I heard. They're going to sue Disney now.
Well, hold on, boys. September 5th, 1992, according to the LA Times, singer-musician Billy Preston pleaded no contest Friday to having cocaine and assault with a deadly weapon stemming from incidents involving a teenage boy and a man in 1991. Okay, I'm covered. There we go.
Okay, good. So we avoided that lawsuit.
Yeah.
So besides the Sgt. Pepper film, I'm putting Laser Blast in that category.
Wow. Oh my God, I love Laser Blast. Eddie, when we talked to Eddie Deason about that, he said, "Oh my God, I feel stupid." He's going like, "I'm just this nerdy guy, and here I am playing a bully."
Well, there's so many terrible movies, though. I mean, not just Laser Blast. He got blown up.
They Laser Blast.
It wasn't Moment by Moment that same year?
No. Moment by Moment, I think it was 79 or 80, because that killed Travolta's career. Corvette Summer, which showed poor Mark Hamill, the door in Hollywood.
The ugliest Corvette I've ever seen.
Yeah. Who is killing the great chefs of Europe? What else came out?
Worst movies of 78. What else was bad? I mean, they had some turkeys that year.
Well, there was Pretty Baby, which is not it's depressing, but it's very well made. Where
Brooke Shields.
Brooke Shields plays a 13-year-old,
12-year-old prostitute. Yeah.
There was a great movie, really, but it's a bummer. But if you can find it, Watership Down came out that year.
Oh yeah, that was all rotoscope.
To me, there's a lot of great films of '78. Though there's Philip Kaufman's Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
What about Heavy Metal, the movie?
81.
Oh, that was 81.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going 78 bad movies, and I'm thinking.
Okay, you see, I keep thinking once you say bad movies, I keep thinking of good movies, but there are bad movies.
No, the good outweigh the bad. Believe me, I'm just trying to think.
The Legacy with Roger Daltrey came out in '78.
Oh my God, I remember seeing that at the
Yeah.
It was like a Hotel California.
Yeah.
It was like a movie about the song, because everybody they get on the Louvre, you check out, but you can't leave. The road brought you right back.
So what do you guys think? Okay, if you had to, this is a tough one. What was the best movie of '78?
Superman the movie.
Okay, there you go.
Superman the movie, and maybe Body Snatchers at number 2.
What about you, Jeff?
Donald Sutherland, Body Snatchers.
Yeah, that's the one.
What about you, Jeff?
God.
You just saw Superman. How can you not say Superman, you dip?
Well, yeah, I'd say Superman. What about, no, that was 80.
The Wiz?
I was thinking James Coburn.
The Wiz came out that year, right?
Yeah, sure did.
Get on down the road.
Inframan.
I hated that.
Yeah, no, The Wiz was, we would do
What about Saturday Night Fever?
77.
Oh, that was 70. Okay.
Yeah, because remember, it pushed Star Wars. Nobody knew Star Wars was going to be Star Wars. And when Saturday Night Fever came out, it was pushing Star Wars out of theaters contractually. And the theater owners wanted to hold on to Star Wars, but they couldn't because Saturday Night Fever had been promised by Paramount,
Oh. It's also the 50th anniversary of Planet of the Apes.
Amazing.
50 years ago, man.
A great, great movie, Planet of the Apes. And I will watch a marathon of Planet of the Apes except for the Tim Burton one. I'll watch it anytime it's on.
The Tim Burton, that was Mark.
Yeah, Wahlberg. Donald and I tried to watch that recently on AMC.
Well, you know what? Horrible. That's the only time I got turned on by an ape was looking at Zero. It was Helena Bonham Carter.
Helena Bonham Carter is a hell of a lot more attractive without ape makeup.
I would have to shave her body, though.
I'm going to have to tell. Jeff is trying to force my hand into retelling the story and how I carried her for 29 takes for a deleted scene in Fight Club, but I won't rise to your bait, Jeff Sargent.
Yeah, okay.
But she smelled terrific. She was adorable. And you know what? I remember David Fincher told the makeup and lighting department he wanted her to look like a burrito at 7-Eleven under the track lighting.
Yeah.
That's why she has the green sickly lighting throughout the movie. Because the whole movie is about illness and all this and how hot she looks, even though she's pale and anemic and,
Yeah.
So back to 78, Steve. Let's see.
I'm just curious because, it's funny because you look at the movies that were really, really good. And see, the reason why I'm asking is this. I had a friend and back, you remember the days when you only had 2 screens. If you had a movie theater, you didn't have 50 screens and all that good stuff. And you guys remember going to a movie, like let's say you wanted to go see Star Wars or Empire.
Right.
And you couldn't buy tickets for the 5 o'clock. You had to get it for the 8 o'clock. And so to kill time, you'd go sit and watch some other movie like Black Sunday or whatever. Did you guys ever do that where you like just buy time and you go sit through some other movie in order to wait to go see the movie you want to see?
Okay, Glennis got caught in traffic. She'll be here in 12 minutes.
All right, we'll kill time. So I mean,
cool.
Did you guys ever do that?
Answer the question, Pat.
Do I switch theaters? Yeah, hell yeah.
I would go in. We had this one in Rosemead. It was the Rosemead 4 Theater. And I remember Fritz the Cat was playing. Oh, God. and Heavy Traffic. And we went out. The Poseidon Adventure was playing. And we would sneak over to the R-rated movies. And our parents would drop us off. And we'd just call them up on the payphone. And we'd say, hey, come get us, you know. And we'd watch 3 or 4 movies all day long.
So here's a little trivia. I'm just looking at Eddie Deazen's Facebook page right now. I posted 4 minutes ago. Eddie Deazen was cast in Grease on this day in 1977.
Wow.
Yep, and they cast him and they let him go, and then he went to a church. He went to a church with his manager and prayed, and then he got the part. They rewrote Eugene back in the movie.
By the way, that's great. I mean, like Barry Pearl telling me, I had no idea that Cha Cha was supposed to be fat originally.
No, that was wild. I'd never seen the stage production, and it's funny because Eddie was telling me one time that he went to the sing-alongs at the theater years later, and he didn't realize how dirty the songs were.
That's funny.
I don't know. I remember when I picked him up at the airport about a week before the accident, and my wife and I picked him up, and he was with his mother. And my wife actually told him, she's all, well, I actually like Grease 2 better. And he's like, oh, you're one of those people. well, Grease 2 is just like an abomination, man. It's just, I don't know what were they thinking.
Some sequels should have never been made, you know?
Oh my God! There's a lot of sequels that shouldn't be made. there's some that actually there's some sequels that have been better.
Better than the original. You know, so.
I just watched. Even the title shows how wrong it was that made this. The Last Exorcism, Part 2.
The Last Exorcism, Part 2, Part 3, Last Exorcism, Part 4, 5.
Yeah, it's like no. The title promised us that was the last one. You're not supposed to be doing this one.
Okay, I'll tell you, one of the worst movies I ever saw in my life, ever. And this movie, if you sit through it, you got I don't know what to give you. Maybe it's just there was a movie that came out with Pat. I'm wondering if you're going to know this one. There's a movie that came out with Ted Bo Derek and
Bo Derek 10. What?
Bo Derek and Anthony Quinn. Do you remember the movie?
Yeah, in fact, I'll even tell you, it's called Ghost Can't Do It, and Julie Newmar is in it.
God, Ghost Can't Do It.
Off the top of my head, by the way, the phone is face down.
Top of his head. Yeah, Ghost Can't Do It.
Ghost Can't Do It. Jeff, have you seen this movie?
I got to see it. I have to see it.
Julie Newmar is beautiful in it, but the movie is horrible. I mean,
is it Fat Ray?
Donald Trump's in the movie.
Is he?
Yeah, he's the business guy. And she goes to broker a deal. Basically, she's married to Anthony Quinn. He dies.
And she wants a young guy to put Anthony Quinn's spirit in. I saw it on Showtime. It goes on and on and on and on.
Oh, dude, it went on forever, too. Yeah. That was the thing. He died. Okay, first he has a heart attack, Jeff, and she's trying to squeeze the will out of him, and then he ends up killing himself. And then at the funeral, you see him up on this shaded, kind of like Derek Morris on the old Saturday Night Live when he was doing the hearing impaired thing where he's yelling. Yeah. And all through the movie, it's Anthony Quinn talking to her, and he's instructing her to kill a young dude. So
she can take the body over. Yeah, Julie Newmar. Julie Newmar plays an angel with a butterfly in her hand, and it's just so boring.
Oh, dude, it's just that movie, and it drug on. And then I'm
a breast enthusiast, and I was sick of her breasts by the end of that movie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like, she's naked, but
you get so bored with her being naked. It's like when you look at her Tarzan the Ape Man, it's so boring until the last 10 minutes when John Derek starts restaging the ending of Mountain of the Slave of the Cannibal God, which starred his ex-wife. The last 10 minutes of Tarzan, he just rips off that whole scene where they're painting her up and all this, and it's just boring.
So these are totally walk out of the theater movies.
Just utterly boring.
I don't even think Ghost Can't Do It made it to the theater.
Ghost went. I think it went right to cable. Yeah.
Oh, it went straight to cable because I remember I did walk out on a movie. 2 movies. I walked out on Crocodile Dundee 3.
Oh, in Hollywood. I heard that was horrible.
Where he's in Hollywood and Mike Tyson has a short part in it. It was like that scene was horrible. I walked out on that movie.
The plastic surgery on the 2 leads is really distracting.
Oh, God. I want my money back. I actually asked for my money back.
Did you get it?
Yes, I did. It was at the Edwards right there on the 10 freeway.
Wow.
And then I walked out on They Still Call Me Bruce. With Johnny Young or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I actually had high expectations for that movie because, I thought it'd be good. It sucked. And another movie I walked out on, and I'm ashamed to say that I bought a ticket for it. I was younger, so, but I went and saw the Garbage Pail Kid movie. Do you remember that shit?
Hey, that movie rocks, man. How dare you? That's the best movie ever.
John Biegler directed that.
That is the best movie. My friend Arturo Gill played Wendy Winston. He's white, but he played the Garbage Pail character was a black kid that farted and stunk up the thing, so he would, and it was, but I liked it because the bikers backed up the kids that were too ugly, too fat, and they got revenge and say, hey, they stuck up and the bikers broke them out of jail, and these people they loved them for who they were, not because of their physical appearance or their smells or their inhibitions.
Come on, Jeffy, you're really serious right now. That's what you thought.
I didn't go to the theater. I had it on VHS.
I like how Jeff Sargent is taking the Garbage Pail's Kids, a movie about ugly puppet children seeking redemption, and he's making it this wonderful movie on tolerance.
Yes, a wonderful movie of tolerance. Hail the Garbage Pail Kids.
You're learning that.
You should adopt them and take them into your home. I could see Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie adopting the Garbage Pail Kids.
Well, remember the Garbage Pail Kids, the trend was over by the time the movie came out. And they
collecting the bubblegum cards? Yeah.
And they said basically the movie was so bad, it helped speed up the demise of the trend.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it did the counter opposite of what they were trying to do.
Exactly.
Get the thing. And it's funny, those cards are worth some money now, too.
I gave some to Arturo. I met up with him down at Farmer's Market, and I gave him some unopened packages of Garbage Pail Kids for Wendy Winston. I'm going to have him on the show.
That may not be a bad idea, but did yesterday's show get put on YouTube yet?
I can't. You know what? I can't find anything. I used to be able to dial in the date, and I have no idea. I'm trying to find these shows. I can't.
The Robert Zapata. Robert's trying to find his episode as well. Steve, if you know, if you know where it is on YouTube, let me know because I'd love to.
I look at YouTube and I can see Barry's and Firestones and all that, but I can't see Robert's or yesterday's show, and I don't know how long. Does Dutchie put them on, or how does that work?
I'll have to talk to him. I'll have to ask him. I'm asking help from Roy and Jimmy.
Jimmy Shaw, man.
Jimmy Shaw, the engineer. Maybe he could help.
Dan, the man from Beyond the Great Beyond.
Oh my God, he surprised us. He ambushed us yesterday.
It was good to hear Dan.
It was great. Dan, He came in to get his clown bank. Remember the little mechanical clown bank? You put the pennies in. I'm all like, oh man, the poor guy needs to put change in his bank. And so it was good for a good. He sat in for about 10 minutes.
Yeah, it was fun to have him back for a while.
It was fun.
It was good to have. It was good to have him in there, and I miss hearing his voice every now and then, and it's just
yeah.
Things it's just hey, it's Dan. We'll always look after him somehow.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, Steve, because we're getting ideas for doing the business cards. We already got that figured out, what pictures we want. You just sent me that picture of the guys from the Muppets, the old guys.
Oh, yeah.
How about for our T-shirts, we Photoshop Pat and I's head on these two puppets. What do you think? That
what on Stafford and Waldorf? The old guys, the Muppets?
Yeah.
No, you do it in the balcony, though. That was just a joke.
Right there. Oh, the balcony one would be better for the T-shirts?
I think that'd be better for the T-shirts, the balcony one, because that's what they're known for.
Let me ask you this. How about, I either want the Muppet guys, or how about photoshopping our faces on Schwarzenegger and DeVito for twins.
Either or. I mean, you guys are it will come to you, whatever you guys jointly agree on. You there?
Oh yes, I just got a pop up from Roy Brewster. He said you can't find it. You have the title of our show. Oh my God, it's on the Roy and Jimmy thing.
Really?
Oh my God, how did our title get confused on your show page?
I miss blaming Dan.
We can't blame him now. Who do we blame?
Tragically, here we go.
So
or sometimes the last show that goes on before yours.
Wow.
So it could be that gaming show we had that title one day. That's because there's no engineer here.
That's true.
So your show is on Roy and Jimmy's what?
Yeah, it's got on their title.
I think Glynnes is here. Let me check. Hold on.
Yeah, so, oh, God, technical difficulty. That's what happens when we don't have an engineer in the room, but sometimes it's supposed to be all automatic.
Why don't when I'm gone and she comes in, why don't you guys Facebook Live, for God's sakes?
Oh, we will. Yeah. Yeah. Our guest is here. Hey, thanks, Roy. Thanks for the text, the heads up, Roy. Okay, our guest is here. Oh, my God. Let me get
awesome.
All right.
All right, I'll talk to you later, Jeff.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Thanks for calling in, man. It was good talking to you. I'll talk to you after the show.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Okay, let's step in and introduce you, and then we'll get your water.
Have a seat. Oh, my God.
Wow.
Sit right here at this microphone.
There, baby. Pop this in.
Oh, yeah, nice leather gauntlets.
Wow,
Check that out.
Yeah. Guests Pruett.
Oh, my God. I got a Facebook Live now.
Yeah,
it's
you
that
got
time.
it. Wonder Woman's here. Okay, here's the great thing. Glynnes Pruett, the only female comic shop owner I know.
In history.
You know, and Glynnes is coming on. Glynnes, you're probably well aware of this, but tomorrow is the 80th anniversary of Action Comics #1.
Yes, it is.
Start of the comic book market, and you're doing an event at Comic Book Hideout in Fullerton tonight.
Yes, I am. And tonight is our art show with The Collective. Dan Fraga is going to be doing our mural. He did our mural on the front of our store. He's redoing it. So he's doing our mural all day today, doing live art that you can come by and see.
Wow.
And then tonight is The Collective, Dan's group that gets together. We're doing a big live art event as well. So there's going to be
drinking and drawing, right?
Yep, there's artwork in the gallery. There's going to be live art with all of our fun people from The Collective. There's going to be a pop-up shop from Blick.
Wow.
So Blick is our favorite local art supply store. So
I love this.
There, and they're going to be helping support all of our local artists and all of our local fans of good art.
Bravo.
So we just hooked up Facebook Live.
We're
going to have to repeat that.
I'm going to do it again, baby.
You got it.
Glynnes, introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody.
Glynnes Pruett.
My name's Glynnes Pruett. I own the Comic Book Hideout in Fullerton, California. Tomorrow night, we have a big event with tonight. It's Thursday. What day is it? Tonight, yes. Thursday night. Dan Fraga is doing the mural in the front of the store. He's doing live art. It's amazing. He does everything freehand, no sketches, just white Sharpies on black black mirror marker. Oh my God, speaking is hard. It's early. He's going to be doing live art on our mural for the wall in the morning. And now tonight, the Collective is going to be at the art gallery in the Comic Book Hideout. There's going to be work up in the gallery. There's going to be live art being drawn.
Wow.
Blick Art Studios is going to be there with a pop-up shop for all of their art supply stuff, which is going to be fantastic. And we have so many cool local artists coming out. It's going to be a really, really fun event.
Now, Glynnes, tell us about yourself. You know, the cool thing is you're named after the pilot's wife, right? Glamorous Glynnes.
Glamorous Glynnes, yeah, the Chuck Yeager's wife.
Yeah, wow.
So Chuck Yeager is the pilot that broke the sound barrier. He's one of the first astronauts.
In the X-15 rocket plane.
There you go, the Glamorous Glynnes.
Wow. No. What made you buy a comic book store?
I didn't buy a comic book store.
You built. I'm sorry.
A comic book store.
That's what I mean.
There's a very big
difference. You're damn right. I am so sorry. You're damn right. What I meant is, what made you open a shop? Because not only did Comic Book Hideout take to Fullerton, you've been a successful business.
Yeah, 5.5 years now.
I went with Anthony and Carly to your last night like this, the drinking and drawing night, and the store was packed at 10 o'clock at night, and it was really exciting. I mean, 5.5 years in a comic book shop, that's like the life of a dog. That's super long, you know?
That's definitely true. Comic book shops age in a different way than most of our businesses. And retail is hard just in and of itself, but comics are something that's really special. And I think that the only way that they can survive is with someone that's really passionate about what they do. I love what I do. I love comics. I love people. I love doing crazy events. Wow. And diversifying. I do so many different things at the store. We have a music studio where I teach music lessons. We have a full art gallery. I teach a ton of different classes, painting classes, art classes for kids. I do creative writing classes, comic book creation classes.
Wow.
We do fun, crazy events with the community. So I do a lot of stuff with our local libraries.
That's really smart.
Elementary schools. I do stuff with the high schools. I'm involved with the Chamber of Commerce and the Rotary Club. I do a ton of community engagement because that's what really makes a comic book store last is a community.
Oh, yeah.
And we love living in Fullerton. We love our community there. And we get people from all over Orange County. People come to visit. I've gotten travelers that are visiting from Europe and all over the world that want to come and see Orange County's best comic book shop.
Well, it is, by the way.
You should run for city council. Are you a city councilwoman?
Not yet. Give me time. I need to free up my schedule a little bit.
Very empowering. And empowering women, and you're representing it now.
Yeah, I love that.
With the Wonder Woman. Let me see those gauntlets.
Wow, bravo, wow.
Wow, those are real leather.
Are they?
Pat requested that I dress up today. I didn't do my full outfit. I did like a half outfit.
You look rock and roll. And with the blue, when you put the blue tint in, you look like the comic book Wonder Woman. Remember Wonder Woman? And Superman always had blue hair because that was the...
Yeah, when I was a kid, I thought her hair was blue.
Yeah,
everyone's like, no, it's black. Have you seen Wolverine? I was like, his hair's not blue? Everybody's hair is blue in comics.
Isn't it cool? Because Clark Kent had blue hair. I mean, people forget that, but that was the coloring. The Wonder Woman and Clark Kent always had blue-black hair.
Well, because blue-black shows up a lot better in print.
Yeah, it always had that blue shine. It always looked cool to me.
Yeah, I love that stuff. I mean, I grew up on comics. I learned to read with comic books.
I taught my brother to read on comics. My brother Steven, I taught him on Spidey Super Stories. What did you learn on?
Yeah, my dad taught me on just Spider-Man. My dad's a big comic fan, which is why I can accredit most of my comic book knowledge.
The great dealer Al Pruett, no stranger to anyone.
No Daddy-O himself.
Wow.
I've got a question. Now, back in the 80s, I told you there was a downtown Fullerton. I think it was off of State College.
I went to in downtown.
A homeless guy burned down the one he's talking about, Comic Kingdom.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, the homeless.
That's like my
Froggy the
nightmare.
Gremlin. I bought an actual Froggy the Gremlin there.
Wow.
This is late 80s, and that comic book store was there. It had old faded stuff. It was an older guy. Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. The people who owned that also owned a comic shop on 2nd Street where Barbara Randall had a Barbara Randall Kiesel, who was married to the Superboy writer. She started running for DC Comics, but she thinks she was targeted by a serial killer back in the late 70s, early 80s. Yeah, and she went into she avoided him by hiding in a comic shop on 2nd Street in Pomona. It's a really terrible story. She's even scared to tell it on the air, but it's a great story about she went into the comic shop by the people who own Comic Kingdom and said, there's a guy I don't know who's following me, and he tried to grab her arm and stuff. She hid in the shop till the guy passed. But she started running for DC after that because she feels a comic shop saved her life, and I think she's right.
Wow, that's incredible.
Now, with your shop, what I'm really proud of with your shop is it's totally your sensibility. It's not the moribund old hippie comic shop. It's cool, it's vibrant, and the lighting is good, and
it appeals to everybody.
Right? It's clean.
It's clean. You have a shop,
nice.
but it's like Paradise Island. There's a bunch of charming girls working and hanging out and having a good time. And I mean, what made you flip the switch on the classic comic shop?
Well, I grew up going to comic book shops with my dad, and I always felt like it was walking into somebody's basement. Like, ooh, I don't know who lives here, but they got cool stuff.
kind of musty.
Yeah, musty and
trying not to wake his mother upstairs.
and to have guys look at me and be like, "Where's your dad, little girl?"
Wow, yeah.
What do you know about
God?
Yeah, and as I got older, I was, interested. I had my own list. I was treasure hunting.
Oh, you're a pull list. Wow.
Yeah. And for me, like, that was really important, like going to the shop. And I always felt like there was something missing. I always felt like uncomfortable and heebie-jeebies, like I was getting looked at
And they did nothing to... They would do nothing to ease your unease, by the way. The old hippie running the shop wouldn't care.
Yeah, and so when I wanted to open my store, I wanted it to feel like, when I very first opened it, I wanted it to feel like you're walking into someone's house, right?
Wow.
Like the coolest collector has all of this stuff, and you can go in there and you can hang out with them, and then you can buy it and leave with it. What? That's crazy. So I wanted a place that people felt comfortable, that people felt like they could ask me questions and learn things. There's so much about like comic books back like 10 years ago, before comics were cool and everybody was, now comics are so mainstream. But back when I was a kid, you couldn't get that. You couldn't go into a store and ask questions and find new titles and feel like someone was there to attend to you. And I mean, doing retail in the real world, like I used to manage a video store and I worked at a record store and things like that.
Two things that are now going the way of older comic shops.
Right? But I really wanted something that made people excited to be there. Like some place that people were like, man, I got a couple hours to kill. I want to go chill in a cool place that has neat people and interesting stuff to keep me occupied and that I can feel comfortable and happy with. And it seems like something like such a no-brainer, right? Like, of course you want to be nice and say hello to your customers. Right? Yeah. That's how you make money.
Yeah, I mean, the old school comic shops were like adult bookstores. No one would want to make eye contact.
Just get when you want to leave.
Yeah. Don't look at me, man. I'm just the clerk.
Yeah. But that's the thing is, like, there's so much more that can be offered. And I think that that's what sets Comic Book Hideout apart. And there's some really awesome stores all over the country that, like, get it and can be really good retail stores and happen to be comic book stores.
Right.
But there's something that's special about a comic book shop. I get to have a little bit more flexibility. I get to break the rules a little bit. I get to, drink a beer at the front counter and chat with my friends and hang out,
That's what's so cool, though. I mean, your stuff, your shop, the attitude there, it's like an indie, it's like the classic indie DVD or record store, kind of CD store.
I grew up watching Empire Records, and that's like one of my top 5 favorite movies. So I wanted a shop that felt like that. I wanted a shop that had its own life and its own energy, and people that came into it were now a part of it, right? The shop is a living, moving thing. It's always growing and changing, developing.
Like Rhino Records used to be.
Yeah, back in the day. I grew up going to like Bionic Records.
Wow.
And obviously Amoeba, but Bionic was like my local store.
Right.
And I loved going in there because whatever was going on in the store was going on. I just happened to be there hanging out.
Wow.
Like whatever, the interaction between the employees was always fun. There was always banter. There's always people coming and going. And it just felt really fluid and fun and comfortable and exciting. And I like that about a store. I like going in and feeling like, hey, I might be here just to pick up a few things, but I'm a part of something right now.
Yeah, and the great thing is where you are, you're close to Cal State Fullerton and everything else. You got the vibe of the area so perfectly. I mean, I was so happy not only to see your shop open, but to continue to thrive.
Honestly, I'm happy to see it thrive too. It was scary opening up and being like, okay. We're gonna go for it. I'm just gonna do it. Jump in, both feet, all the way.
But you opened a comic shop when a lot of comic shops had failed, and
they're still failing.
And they are still failing.
Go buy comics, guys.
Yeah. But it's such a Christians and Lions period, and you made it work, which is kind of exciting. Like you talked about changing the sensibility of the comic shop from the moribund old hippies in the dusty basement. There has always been a He-Man Woman Haters Club attitude towards comic shops, towards women.
And I think that the important thing is not to just flip that on its head. We don't want to be a, she-girl woman or a man haters club because that's just limiting for everybody, right? So nobody wants that. And nobody wants to feel disincluded. So
you don't have to be like Sister Summer Isle, you know. We love our men.
The Wicker Man. The Wicker Man reference.
We just don't serve them.
See, that's something I didn't want. Like, I'm an Amazon. I love empowering women, but I also love empowering everyone. You know, I want to be a humanist. I want everybody to love everybody and to feel included. So you don't.
I just realized I would vote for you for governor.
Save your votes.
There we
I'm
go.
working on it.
There we go.
Gotta free up my schedule to have that political angle in.
I mean, but the feel of the shop, and it was all. I mean, again, it was full of cool people. Anthony and Carly, and we're like, we had to. They were like, we're in Southern California. We have to hit Glynnes' shop, and I would see a lot of your regulars, a lot of your customers.
I have great regulars,
and they love you. But there was excitement over going to Comic Book Hideout on Free Comic Book Day. You can go anywhere for Free Comic Book Day.
Free Comic Book Day is like Comic Book Christmas. Free Comic Book Day is the best day of the year for us.
Wow.
For every reason, for all of the above. So we love Free Comic Book Day. We've been doing it since I've been open. And we do it up as a huge party. You know, we get a bounce house, we do sales, we do sidewalk sales.
Bouncy house for grown-ups?
Yeah, dude. I think I'm the only person that employs that. But I get a bounce house at least twice a year for the shop. And I think that I'm probably the one that bounces in it the most.
I've always wanted to, Free Comic Book Day, like when we went, they're just special comic books that say Free Comic Day, right? They have to be printed with that?
So we get our free comics from Diamond, our comic book distributor, and we get all of the. That's not my phone, is it?
No, I think
we get all of our comics from Diamond, but sometimes I will run out of those comics, and then I will turn all kinds of comics into free comics. So, like this year, we had plenty of comics, and I have some that I'm gonna give to elementary schools, and I do a lot of work with like career days and.
You're a teacher as well, aren't you?
I'm a substitute teacher.
Oh my God! Welcome to the dream, baby. You love it, don't you?
I love it. I do love it. I like it because it's flexible and I can teach and I can work at the shop and it's fun. I get to engage with students. And
substitute teaching is the greatest gig in the world. I am so shocked no one else knows it.
It's a secret. You can't tell everybody.
I know, exactly. But you're free for audition. You're free to do your interviews. You're a rodeo clown. You just got to keep them from burning down the room. You read Bunnicula with them. You know what I mean? You get the
if I could read Bunnicula. No, I sub high school. So it's a whole.
Please tell me you wear this.
Oh no, I can't wear this.
14-year-old boys will be a lot calmer if Wonder Woman walks in the room.
My fiance definitely has to do dress check approvals of babe, I don't think you should wear that.
Say your name again, Glynnes.
Glynnes Pruett.
How do you spell your name?
Glynnes.
Now your last name, which is even more challenging.
Of
Comic Book Hideout.
Comic Book Hideout in Fullerton. What street is it on?
It's
put the camera on.
215 West Commonwealth Avenue, directly next to the police station in downtown Fullerton. Safest houses.
That'll help with all the creepers.
We're getting a lot of comments today. It's blowing off. You're blowing the doors off. The ratings are going up.
I can't see the comments, but I'd be happy to answer questions.
The great thing is our first hour was pretty bad, so I'm very happy you're here.
I'm sorry I couldn't get up earlier.
We appreciate it, Wonder Woman.
We want everybody to go tonight. Pat, I want to see you draw some pictures.
Yeah, come and hang out.
Now, is everybody going to be drawing the same picture like they do painting and drinking?
No. This is a free for all drink and draw live art event. So
so I could paint him if I want.
If you bring your own supplies or you buy them from Blick, we'll be there. The artists that we have for the collective will be there drawing and doing live art, painting and drawing. But everyone is free to join and free to come in. Blick will be there selling art supplies if you want to buy some art supplies and whip out a sketch. Otherwise, we have a bunch of art on the gallery walls that's going to be available for purchase and will be up for the whole month of June. And Dan is doing the mural starting at 11 a.m., so he's working most of the day during the day.
Wow. And because this is one of your big days, I appreciate you coming in, but I thought it was so fun. I went to last year's, and it was so fun. I thought, one, you coming in the day before Superman turns 80, the whole comic book genre turns 80. Two, that you're doing, this had nothing to do with Action Comics tomorrow?
It has nothing to do with that. We do a monthly art show. So every month we do a new art show in the gallery. And not all the time is it as huge with as many people and different artists. Sometimes we do solo art shows. Sometimes we have a fun selection of art shows coming up for the summer. So it's got to be lots of interesting stuff. I'm doing less group shows, more solo stuff. I have a cool entirely devoted to Doctor Strange.
Really?
Exhibit that's going to be coming in. I have.
When is that open?
That's going to be in August.
My first comic shop as a kid was Ann Arbor's Eye of Igmato.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, and by the way, fun fact, David S. Goyer, who later wrote the Dark Knight movies and Man of Steel and Blade 1, 2, and 3.
Hey, you know what? We were just talking about how good those Blade movies are.
Shocking.
People don't give Blade enough credit. Everyone's like, oh, Black Panther, which is amazing, Wakanda forever. But you got to give it up for Blade. Those old school vampire movies are so 90s and so much fun. I love that stuff.
The first Marvel hit, by the way, the first Marvel hit since Lou Ferrigno Incredible Hulk TV series. The Blade movies, like you said, don't get enough credit. People
and they're rated R. People were like, no, there's no Marvel, there's no superhero movies rated R. I was like,
Deadpool.
What about Blade?
People always conveniently forget Blade. I mean,
and Ryan Reynolds was in Blade 3.
By the way, wow.
Yes, he was. That's right.
I think
I always forget.
It's so silly and so fun.
It's always so cool because Glynnes is so cool. When she busts out her nerd knowledge, I always forget that she's that cool.
You always forget that I have a film degree too?
Yeah. I forget that you're so cool. I mean, when you bust that out,
flesh.
But I mean, comic book kind of 5.5 years. I mean,
we'll be 6 in November.
Wow.
We'll be having a huge party, so make sure to come out for that. Bounce house included.
Thank God. Jeff's a big fan of bounce houses. And now that he's no longer allowed at Chuck E. Cheese.
I have to disguise myself as a 12-year-old kid, so I put on my mushroom hairdo.
The mustache.
The Victorian pedophile mustache.
I dress up like Lord Fauntleroy, like Peter Sellers did in.
You're dating yourself, Grandpa. Hold on. How'd you come up with the title Comic Book Hideout?
Well, I'm lucky enough that my dad has been selling comics at conventions. So if you've seen him, Go Daddy-O's Comic Book Hideout.
Right.
And when I was opening the store, I was like, well, Dad, I don't know what I'm going to name the store. You got the coolest name. Yeah. He was like, what do you mean? I was like, Comic Book Hideout. That's the coolest comic book store name ever. And I racked my brain to come up with everything. And he was like, it's yours.
Oh.
He was like, there's no way we could call it anything else.
But yeah, seriously. And the hipness of the shop, again, it's a vibrant, moving shop. I mean, that's...
We're always doing something new. We're always... the nature of retail is you have rolling over staff.
Evolve or die,
We always have new staff, new systems, but the basics are the same, right? The pull list is there. Well, here, I have a card you can put up.
Wow, okay.
The pull list is there. We have a fantastic pull list, really great regulars. We try super hard to make sure that everyone gets what they need and feels comfortable.
Show that in front of the camera, yep. No, Glynnes, tell us, what are you reading? What's your comics of choice right now?
Oh, man. I am that just came out this week, Saga. I love Saga. I've been in love with Saga since before I opened the store. It's just absolutely fantastic. You can't beat it. Brian K. Vaughan is out of this world.
Why the Last Man? Yeah.
Yeah. And then what else came out this week? Vampironica and Jughead the Hunger. I don't know if you guys are reading the Archie series.
Is that the Jughead the Hunger? Is that the zombie Jughead series?
It's Werewolf Jughead, which is even better. So they did Afterlife with Archie, which is the zombie.
Great book. Roberto Aguirre Sarcasa. Just depressing though. Very depressing.
It's so good though. It's zombies. You have to be depressing. Everybody has to die.
But when Hot Dog, the dog is rotting and biting people.
Hot Dog is what they like to kill the most because it tugs on the heartstrings. Right? So Jughead the Hunger. Hot Dog's got to get it too.
Poor God bless Hot Dog.
But that one's werewolves, and then Vampironica is Veronica is a vampire.
Really?
So you got all your horror genres.
That's Veronica of Riverdale. Yeah. Is it? Wow.
I mean, who better to be a vampire in Riverdale than Veronica, right?
Right. And Dad can buy her out of any...
And she got blue hair too, right?
Yes. Veronica does have blue hair. And the nice shine in the middle. They always...
Yep.
With dots.
Oh, yeah.
Zipatone. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch of good stuff coming out from the Archie universe. And that... I am surprised how well... I watched the first season of Riverdale, and I was like, oh, my God, I love this, because the joke around the shop is that my fiancé is my Archie Andrews. He's just a goofy, redheaded kid that's always getting in trouble, but just is so lovable. And so we joke around the shop that John is Archie. So we watched Riverdale, and I was like, you can compare my fiancé to Archie any day. Yeah, I'm into that.
Was Archie, not your fiancé, was Archie the one having sex with Miss Grundy in the pilot? I couldn't watch it beyond that.
Oh, my God.
In a dragon bugs.
I look at that in the comics and looking at Miss Grundy, and that's like being with Peter Parker's Aunt May from Johnny Romita.
But see, when you update Miss Grundy and she's like a hot 23-year-old.
And then you're thinking, got it. Oh, I'm hot for teacher.
Oh, no. So you watch Riverdale. What are you watching now? Are you still watching Arrow?
You know what? I am not watching any of the DC comic series. I'm so terrible. I have like zero time for TV.
Right.
So I have
You're
to
business owner.
Really pick and choose. I've watched all of the Marvel TV stuff. So anything on Netflix for Marvel.
What's your favorite of that, by the way?
Luke Cage was so good. And just like all around good. The character was good. The acting was good. The writing was good. The music was good. Everything. The fight scenes were great.
That fight scene in the pilot where he's trying to save the landlady who hates him.
Yes.
And he gets sucker punched and the guy's hand explodes. I would follow that show anywhere.
And I mean, Punisher was good. Punisher took me a minute to I had to pause it, take a breath, be like, okay, Glynnes. Shit's gonna get real.
Right.
It's gonna get really violent. And then it did, and I was just like, oh.
Gouging out eyes. I mean, when he's gouging out the eyes in the finale,
so good.
So
good. And the guy who plays Punisher is just, I couldn't think of anyone more perfect to play him.
Wasn't he? He was so much better on that than even Walking Dead. I mean,
he was good on Walking Dead.
He
I mean,
was.
you hated him, and that's the point. You want to hate him.
I love it because he can take a punch. He gets beat up. He gets
insanely beat up every episode.
And it's great.
That's the best part.
Same thing with Daredevil. I like that they could hold their ground and take a punch as well as deliver.
I really enjoy all of the cast for the Marvel stuff. I feel like
Defenders, man.
Defenders is great. I mean, and
I haven't seen.
Let her finish.
Oh, I'm sorry. People gave Iron Fist a hard time.
Yes, they are.
I watched Defenders first, and then I went back and watched Iron Fist.
You liked it more,
I was like, aw, I get it. You're just a 10-year-old boy that knows really, really good kung fu.
Yeah.
Because he's taken out of his environment when he's a kid and put in this monastery, and so when he comes back in, he's just like
awkward. Yeah.
Hi guys. What? I don't have any money or family anymore. Oh, do you want to be my family? And then you have to be like, oh, he's adorable. You should just be nice to him. Stop giving Danny such a hard time.
We know Glynnes Pruett's one-woman defense of Iron Fist on Netflix. Go on, Jeff. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Iron Fist having. You look at the comic book, and he's wearing those tights and the kung fu slippers, and doesn't he have the tattoo, the dragon tattooed on his chest?
Which he has in the show as well. Yeah,
I'm happy that they chose to make sure that he has the dragon tattoo.
I thought that was cool.
Super important.
Yeah, very John Byrne.
I would like to see Luke Cage Power Man go funky with his chains.
I really
bracelet.
enjoyed when he got out of when he busts out and he has the
headband. The tiara,
I was like,
the headband. He's got to have the headband.
But they couldn't do the 70s thing because it would have been too crazy. They give him the tiara and they give him the yellow shirt. So I was happy.
He's in a yellow shirt almost the whole time, and I was like, that's all I need.
Yeah,
that's all I need.
I mean, it's such a great show. I love Daredevil. I love Defenders. I love Jessica Jones is really well written, but the pace is really slow. I
really liked the first season of Jessica Jones. I really liked it. I was like, yeah, she's right. She's like, she's got it all. She's got everything I need, and she's such an asshole, and that's great.
Deliberately so.
And the second season, I was watching it, and I was like, I get it, but I'm not like so jazzed on it. Like the mommy storyline, which you think I would be like, oh man, girl and her mom just gotta figure it out because that's relatable. But like, I don't know. It fell flat for me a little bit. But I'm still excited. I think that it can get better. I like the character Jessica. Patsy needs to get her shit together because that goes on crazy. I got this really awesome book and it's a Patsy Cline romance book from the 60s, early 70s.
Patsy, the model, Patsy Walker, right?
Patsy Walker. So I really enjoyed just the fact that they roped Patsy into the Jessica Jones thing and they gave Hellcat a character. And she's finally like just losing her shit enough that they're like, okay, she's going to be Hellcat next season. She has to be because she wants to be a superhero so bad.
And she hides her. I interviewed her she was in Transformers. She was in the original Man-Thing TV movie on Sci-Fi Channel. She's got a thick New Zealand, New Australian accent, and you can't hear a word of it. I didn't
know that. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, her accent is completely hidden, and I didn't even recognize her until like 3 episodes in. It's like, oh, wait a minute, that's her.
She's in Transformers?
She's the Air Force She's the improbable Air Force general with the nose ring in the first Transformers.
Oh man, I haven't seen the first Transformers in a long time. Probably since it came out. I think I took like a group of 60 Korean kids to the movies to go see that.
Did they like it?
When I was working at the academy. They loved it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean.
With Shia LaBeouf?
Oh, yes, the first one.
The first one, yeah. Oh, Shia. Shia. What's that guy doing?
She's let the record reflect. The recently engaged Glynnes is blushing as she thinks of Shia LaBeouf.
old Shia LaBeuf. I had a crush on Shia LaBeouf back when he was in Even Stevens.
Wow.
Get the accuracy here.
Wow. Okay, she wants it clear she was a fan of the old school, not the new school drunk driving, smashing his hand on Hollywood Boulevard Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that guy. See, this is what happens. We gotta take care of our child actors and like make sure their mental health is all right.
This is true.
We should start a support group for child actors before they go bad. Quick.
I've got like 2 horror stories I'll tell you about Even Stevens after we're off the air. Legally, sadly, I can't tell you on the air, but it's a great story. It's made the rounds.
There you go.
Now, what has been the high points and the low points of running a comic shop? Talk to us about that.
Oh, man. That's a really great question. There's so many high points, right? My favorite, and it's little stuff, like my favorite is when I have my kids section right in the front where my door is. And when kids come in and just immediately take something off the shelf and sit down cross-legged and read it. Or like
that's when you walk over and say, "This ain't no library."
No, Comic Book Hideout has an open reading policy.
I'm joking.
I want people to read books. That's the whole point of being there. Sometimes you got to test it out to see if you like it, right?
Well, I'll be the guy in the corner with the beer reading the hardback of Watchmen. Then
right, there you go. You could do that. I think that little stuff like that, like when kids come in and they're like, "Oh my God, Mom, can we live here?"
Oh.
This is the best store ever.
Wow.
Like that never gets old. That makes me so happy. And
that's when your big sister Jean kicks in. I can tell.
Yes. My big sister Jean is pretty thick. So I really love that kind of stuff. I love being able to do collaboration stuff. I like to be working with the community. I love working with local artists, like when we do signings and stuff and people can come out. Just seeing the smiles on people's faces to give them an opportunity that they wouldn't have had in a different environment. That's really fantastic for me. And we have really great moments with my staff, too. I have a really fantastic staff. We just got some new people in, and there's such a great camaraderie. Sorry, photo guys.
Yeah.
There's such a great camaraderie in the store, and there's I've built really great, fantastic relationships, and I even met my fiance in the store.
Wow.
So he was a customer of mine for 2 years before we started.
You said this ain't no library? Hey, Archie, put that down.
Hey, Arch.
Archie kids.
Oh, that's adorable. What was your gateway comic as a kid?
Oh, man. I was in love with the X-Men when I was a kid because that was, the X-Men is so relatable to so many people, and it's such a iconic thing for people that are diverse, right? So the whole point of the X-Men is to promote diversity, to encourage awareness and support and love for everybody.
Love your mutant. Love your fellow mutants.
Love your mutant. And we're all mutants in our own way. We all have our weird things.
And I like the quote that says, someday man and mutant will live together in harmony.
Imagine being a kid in the 60s where, imagine a time before the internet.
Before the movies.
Where bullies weren't sang songs to and hugged out to not be bullies anymore. And where people really had a hard time fitting in and not, there was a very strict couple stereotypes that you could fit into. And if you didn't, you were a mutant. You were weird. You were the oddball. And you were the kid that hung out at the comic book shop. And I feel like now that comics are mainstream, there's a lot more support for people like that. But, when I was a kid, I was a weirdo. I was obsessed with the 1950s and 60s.
Were you really?
Oh, yeah. I used to wear, pedal pusher pants and little sweaters with scarves in my hair. And I used to love, and just eat them up, 60s and 70s, beater comics, Now we call them readers.
Yeah, so they call them beater comics? Because I'm a 50-cent bin enthusiast.
Oh, you are, yes. That's actually how I met
That's how you can find Pat at any convention. Just go where the cheap comics are. Digging with a shovel, through 25-cent comics.
you'll go through a ton of them and you'll find some interesting stuff. I mean, it's not mainstream stuff. It's stuff that flopped or, you'll find
there's interesting stuff.
Yeah. Like you'll find an IDW book. And to me, you'll find something from a failed experiment from IDW or from Marvel, and the whole miniseries will be in there.
Book from 1989 that you forgot that came out.
Isn't that amazing? To me, that's the appeal of the 50-cent bin or the 25-cent bin, and is that you give it.
Pat pays attention to the rejects. He wants to give love to all the rejects.
I do.
I feel like you're like that about movies too.
You know what? I kind of feel that way too. I mean, if there's a small, what's your favorite movie, Glynnes?
Oh man, I got a couple in my top 5.
Give us your two of your top 5.
As a film major, I can't do a favorite movie. I love, like I said, Empire Records is up there.
I know. Hey, you earn points. You bring the biggest bomb on Chris Pine's resume as one of her favorite movies. Wait, actually, I don't think he's in Empire Records. He did an indie record store movie like that, though.
Have I not seen it? This needs to be remedied.
And what if he's in Empire Records? Let me check. Hold on.
He's definitely not in Empire Records. I've seen that movie a million times.
Wow.
Amelie, I love.
Amelie, wow.
Amelie, that's one of my top 5s. I still go back to it and watch all the time. One of my guilty pleasure movies, that is like my number 1 guilty pleasure when I'm in a really sad place.
Aww.
I always go to this movie, is Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia!
I have like this wonderfully long and drawn out story about me and my mother and our love for Mamma Mia. We were like,
is that with the soundtrack with ABBA?
Amanda Seyfried.
Amanda Seyfried.
They're making Mamma Mia 2.
I know.
It's coming out this summer.
And you and your mom are already planning on.
If my mom didn't live all the way across
I hope
the
it's
country
good. I hope a sequel is good.
It's just fun. It's a guilty pleasure movie. It's something that's for fun and to make you feel bad or feel good when you're feeling bad. But you know what? There are comfort food movies. It's definitely a comfort food movie for me.
But I love an obscure movie that might not have gotten the love. One of my favorite movies, Miracle Mile. You ever see it?
Miracle Mile.
Anthony, the guy from ER, the guy who went on to do ER later. It's my second favorite movie of all time.
Really?
Miracle Mile is one of those movies that it didn't get enough love. It deserves. It's so smart and it's so cool. Anthony Edwards from ER, Mare Winningham, and Denise Crosby from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Wow, I don't know how I've not seen this.
It's a brilliant, brilliant movie. The less I tell you, the better it is.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I want you to discover it, and I like a small movie like that. That you know what I mean.
Do you want a small movie that no one's ever seen?
Please,
except for me and my dad.
Which will make the producer happy. 2 people saw this movie.
It's one of the very early National Lampoon movies, and I have to put a disclaimer out there. It's very National Lampoon.
Really,
it's not PC at all, and it's a little bit racist.
That's good.
But in a 1970s, we don't care way. O.C. and Stiggs.
O.C. and Stiggs. You know, that was written by Walter Hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, Walter Hill went on to do 48 Hours, The Warriors.
And it was one of John Cryer's first films.
Really?
And I met John Cryer at Comic-Con. He came in to buy comics from me. And
to your shop? He came into your booth. Yeah, your booth at Comic-Con. I'm sorry.
And he was there with his kid. And I was like, I don't like to do this. I hate to bug you, but I have to tell you something that you probably don't hear very often. I absolutely love O.C. and Stiggs.
What did he say?
John looked at me and he was like, How have you seen that
You're
movie?
too young to have seen that movie.
He was like, that probably came out the year you were born.
Wow.
And I was like, it's one thing that I love from my childhood, love watching with my dad. And I talked to him about it for a minute and he was like, we were all so drunk when we made that movie.
Really?
And I was like, I believe it. It's fantastic. But it's just so silly. It's just so silly. And it's about 2 teenage boys living in Arizona and just having a crazy adventure for the summer.
Wow.
I think it's relatable and funny and
maybe
ridiculous.
It wasn't Walter Hill. Was it John Hughes? Somebody big worked on that.
I don't think it was John Hughes.
But it was somebody big.
Yeah. But
wow.
It's fantastically stupid. You should watch it.
I will give that a look. There's one. Speaking of Chris Pine, there's a great movie on Netflix called Stretch, where he plays a limo driver. It's a great movie.
Oh, wow, I haven't seen that.
It did so little. It's on Netflix. I don't even know if it had a theatrical, but it's a great movie. You know. Yeah. And you have Netflix, of course.
I only have Netflix. I have Netflix and Hulu, and I don't have real TV. So that's how I'm behind the times on everything.
Amazon Prime is amazing. You know what I mean? I mean, try Amazon. I've got Amazon and I've got Netflix, and I love that if you pick a movie, and it'll start recommending stuff to you.
Yeah. The recommendations is always fun because it's like it usually goes on different actors that you like or directors that you like, things like that. So it's like Spotify, your recommended songs for you and stuff like that.
Check out Black Death. Okay, it's an English movie. Black Death. It's all a bunch of nobodies. I think Sean Bean is in it.
I do enjoy Sean Bean.
There we go. Check out Black Death because
Sean Bean's in all kinds of like funky, like little indie horror movies and stuff.
Dies in them all.
Oh yeah. Oh man, that would be a fun project to see all of the movies Sean Bean's in and make sure he dies in every single one.
He has to die in every single
one. He has to die. That should be in his contract. I love the script. I love being the hero. He has to die. Yeah. He has to die.
That just popped up on my memories was John Dies at the End.
Oh, John Dies in the End.
Have you seen that movie?
Yeah, I've seen that one. Pretty good.
Well, look, oh my God, it's near the end of the show and we're just getting started.
Already.
I wish you were here at 7 o'clock.
Well, yeah, you can't do that to her. She's got a long day today. I'm not going to. She goes, because she had her event tonight. What time does that main thing kick off?
7 to 10 tonight.
7 to 10.
Yeah.
Okay, 7 to 10. 7 to 10.
7 to 10.
Comic Book Hideout.
Comic Book Hideout.
Goodness, plug the address next to the police station.
215 West Commonwealth, directly next to the police station in downtown Fullerton.
Fullerton, California. What's the zip, baby?
92832.
Wow. Okay, where can we follow you on Facebook, Twitter, and all that? Do you have
We are on everything under Comic Book Hideout. The only thing that's different is CB Hideout for Twitter. And on Instagram, or everything else is the same, Comic Book Hideout. And then on Snapchat, I think we are Comic Hideout.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But everything else is Comic Book Hideout. You can Google us. We have a website. We have all of our information on Facebook, Instagram, all that fun stuff.
What's your next big convention you'll be covering?
Next big convention is San Diego.
Wow. Are you ready?
San Diego is the next one. We will have a booth at San Diego, same spot that we're always at with me and my dad.
I love that.
Check that out.
Let me ask, by the way, did you, at one point you were studying to become a roller derby girl. Did that ever?
Studying to become a roller derby
Well, you know what I mean?
Well,
you were practicing part.
I used to do roller derby when I lived in Long Beach.
I remember that. You were one of the Long Beach Bombers, right?
Yeah. Well, Terminal Island Tootsies.
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. But I actually have a roller skate gang for the Hideout called the Hideout Honeys.
Wow.
And you can do roller skates or skateboards, and we do meetups at the shop, and we do rollouts all over downtown Fullerton. We do skate lessons and maintenance classes and all kinds of fun stuff like that, and you can find that all on social media and our website.
Wow. Yeah. Glamorous Glynnes Pruett, the Amazon queen of Comic Book Hideout in Fullerton. Their event is tonight, 7 to 10. Give it a look. Or go in there tomorrow and buy Action Comics 800?
800.
Wow.
Written by Bendis.
Or 1,000. Is it 1,000 or 800?
Action Comics 1000 is out. Superman 800.
Wow. By Bendis. Have you read it yet?
I have. It's fantastic.
Wow.
Bendis made a good jump at the right time, I think.
Wow.
We can talk about Marvel DC all day long.
Well, we shall tonight. All right, 7 to 10 at the store.
Yes, and we have tons of fun events coming up later in the month, too. So check out our website, look at our events calendar. We've got a puff pass and paint class. We've got draw yourself as a superhero or get drawn as a superhero event. So you can come in and get drawn as your favorite superhero. We've got a different pin trading events. If you like enamel pins, we're doing a DC launch of licensed DC pins.
Really?
Catwoman, Poison Ivy, Batman, Harley Quinn, all that fun stuff. And art shows every month. So we have tons and tons of stuff at the shop.
I can just put my art in there, too.
Yeah, if you send me an email and show me what you got.
Yeah, you got to prove yourself, dummy. Glamorous Glynnes Pruett, thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me, Pat. Next time I'll get up earlier. I'll be here at 7.
Thanks, Your Highness.
We didn't get enough of you today.
Ladies and gentlemen, I love that you wore your. Because I was
promised bagels if I dress up as Wonder Woman.
By the way, and just bagels you shall have. Hold on.
We have Elizabeth and Paulie coming in tomorrow. Tune in to the Jeff Sargent Show tomorrow.
And the great Glynnes Pruett, her event is 7 to 10 tonight. We got to get her bagels.
At the store.
Yes. Come see her at the store. Thanks for joining us in today's Jeff Sargent Show. Booyah. Wow. You want bagels? One of our sponsors is a bagel guy. We'll buy you breakfast. Are you in a hurry? Can we buy you breakfast?
What time is it?
It's 9 o'clock.
I